started. How's everybody doing today? What was your first session that you went to? I see some of you from mine, yes. What are some of the other folks? Where'd you go first?
Digital Dirt.
Hey, Aiden. Hello. Digital Dirt. What else? What was your first section? Pursuing graduate school. Anybody else? What was your first one?
Women in Communication.
Nice, okay. So I'm going to introduce myself and then my two lovely assistants here today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kelly Diley, and I'm the co-op advisor and career counselor to the School of Business and to the School of Hospitality Management. I'm also a Widener grad. I got my undergraduate degree here in accounting. Obviously, I'm no longer doing that. Became a recruiter for a number of years in accounting and finance, and then went back to school to get my master's degree in counseling. Some of these folks heard this in my previous session, but the reason I mention that is because some of what we're going to talk about today in job search strategies is that your path is going to change, and the first job that you get out of college is probably not going to be the job that you stay at forever, okay? You're going to make changes, you're going to have different interests. So keep that in mind as we go along. That is kind of going to be something that I may come back to on occasion, as far as you might want to be flexible about job title. You might want to be flexible about, location and things like that. So why don't you ladies introduce yourselves?
Of course. I'm Jackie Cahill. I'm actually a recruiter at InternU, and some of you may know we're at the keynote speaking event earlier, so that's the company that we work for. A little bit of a background on myself. I graduated from Westchester University with a degree in communications, and I've been working at InternU for going, 5 years now. So I handle a lot of the recruitment side, so if you guys ever have an interest in applying for any opportunities, whether it's internships or just your first entry-level position, the first point of contact that you reach when you apply. So looking forward to hopefully seeing and talking to you guys in the future.
Well, happy Friday, everyone. Don't know about you all, but I'm excited this weekend. But my name is Liz Schroeder. I'm the manager of University Relations at InternU. Definitely agree with what Kelly said. Your career path changes. I started off as an English major, graduated with that. Thought I was going to work for the New York Times. Quickly realized that's not what I wanted to do. So went back, got my master's in counseling as well for higher education. Worked in the higher ed setting for a little bit, made that change from higher ed to corporate. So I worked with Jackie at InternU, similar synergies, help recruiting students to get connected to entry-level job opportunities with our corporate client partners.
Nice. Cool. Okay. I'm just going to say click. Is that cool? I'll say that. All right. So the reality of the situation is, this sounds kind of negative when we start off, but the point of this is just to kind of show you that the reality of the situation is that there are fewer job openings now. There's more candidates on the market. But not to worry, we're going to tell you how you can make yourself stand out in some of the job search strategies that you can implement, okay? Next slide, please. What does this mean? I have a lot of clicks. Sorry, girls. Sorry, ladies. All right, so you can just bring them all up on the screen because I'm not working. So there's more applicants in the market for fewer jobs, as I mentioned, right? But so there's a longer interview process sometimes and slower decision making as well because of this. So I know we're starting off on the negative, we're getting to the positive. But because of this, companies are also less willing to take risks because of what's happening in our economy today. It's not like it was many, many years ago when maybe our parents and even my parents and grandparents were in the market. Companies don't want to spend the money that they used to spend, so they're really, how do I say, they don't just take chances and as many risks as they used to. Would you agree with that? That they want to be really sure about who they hire. Next slide, please. So you can just bring them all up. Sorry about this, you guys. I don't have a clicker. So what can you do? And this is when we're going to get into some strategies here. Okay, what can you do about this and how to find a job? Like I said in the beginning, and so did Jackie and Liz, you want to be flexible and open because you may not get that dream job right out of college. You have to realize that title, at the end of the day, title is not the most important thing. You need to look at what are the duties of the position, what are you going to be doing in that job, okay? Those types of things. And then you can maybe look at the title and the location and things like that. But the more flexible you are, the more opportunities that are going to be available to you, all right? You want to explore opportunities for your skill set and for your industry. So we're not saying, well, I'm an English major, I'm going to go apply to be a nurse. But again, you have to have that mindset. I actually read a study that showed that men are very likely to apply to a job in which they only meet 2 to 3 of the 10 job criteria, and where women will only apply for a job if they meet 7 or more. And that's because, I'm just giving you the facts, so hold on, men in the room. But it's just, it's something to think about, where as women, I'm just going to go there for that one quick minute, you need to realize that nobody is going to hit every check mark on the job description, okay? This is the job description, this is the ideal candidate, which does not exist. So you need to look at what is the company looking for, what have you done, and make a decision that says, okay, I might not match up to all of these things, but I know I can do the majority of them, and you need to apply for that position. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Maintain discipline and focus. All that means is when it comes time to get on the horse and job search, you need to stick with it. This can't just be, once a week, weekend activity. You need to create an action plan, which I'm going to get to in a later slide, and I'm going to show you an organizational chart you can use on how to keep track of where you're applying, okay? So this action plan, these are key steps that you need to do in order to really open up your chances, create greater opportunity of getting not only an interview, but ultimately a job offer, all right? So you want to research employers. Well, sometimes students say to me, I don't even know where to start. So let's get some interaction going here. So, oh my God, I just forgot how to say your name again. Shania. Shania, I'm sorry, so Shania. So when I say research employers, right, you already had a co-op experience, you've been through this, so what does that look like? Can you share what that means? Like if someone said to you, I don't even know where to start, where would you start? Would you maybe Google some companies out? Like what would your advice be? What did you do?
I'm actually in this job search right now, so what I did was look up biomedical engineering companies, and the list would come up, like Johnson & Johnson, Merck,
Yes.
GSK.
Yes, okay, excellent. You guys hear what she said? So you look at what industry you're in, whether it's business informatics, biomedical engineering, communications, English, nursing. And if you're a nursing major, you probably are going to want to look at some of the different hospitals or healthcare facilities in the area, okay? If you're communications, that's really broad. So you want to kind of think about, well, what kind of companies do I at least think I may want to work for? And you want to start doing research and gathering a target list of companies, right? So first you want to say, okay, I have 10 to 20 companies that I'm interested in. I want to go to their website and I want to see, do they even have anything open, all right? Let's pretend that nobody has any job openings, right? So you're like, okay, you still want to keep these companies on your radar, but then you want to broaden your search and you want to maybe go to Indeed.com, which I'll put up in a second, Indeed.com, different job search boards, and you want to start doing your research that way. Because a lot of times, the issue is we don't know what we don't know, meaning there could be a lot of great companies out there that we just don't even know exist, and we're only used to hearing some big name companies that people throw at us, like Johnson & Johnson, right? But maybe you don't know about that great biomedical engineering company down the street that's, $5 million in revenue as opposed to $20 billion in revenue, and you never even heard about that company, but maybe they're a good fit for you. So again, you have to do your research, okay? The biggest thing in terms of networking is joining professional organizations. You got to get out there. A lot of people don't like doing it. Nobody really loves going to networking events. They can be really boring. But I'm sure with Liz and Jackie, could you say anything about joining organizations and networking and what that can do for you?
I think that could even include joining organizations on campus, because there's so many alumni that come back and support those events. Maybe it's alumni weekend or other events, so that's a great way to get involved. Joining professional organizations on LinkedIn as well. I think a lot of your campus has a lot of those. It's a good way for you to get connected. You don't have to go far from your computer.
Right.
But it's so important. It's so key right now.
Right, and in addition to that, you want to join organizations and go to meetings. So, for example, I'm just making this up. What's your major? Mechanical engineering. Okay, so are you involved in any organizations? Does anybody have any membership in any professional organizations outside of Widener? Yes.
Sweet.
Say again?
Society of Women Engineers.
Society of Women Engineers. So do you ever go to any of their meetings and talk to people?
I went to the convention.
Okay. But so getting out there and meeting people is really key because that's going to build your network and then that's just going to increase your opportunity even further. Okay. Keep a list of where you apply. Oftentimes people will say again.
That's good.
Yeah, especially if you're job searching and you're applying to, I don't know, 50 to 100 companies, this is what happens. You'll get a phone call and they'll say, hi, is this Kelly? This is she. Oh, well, this is so-and-so at XYZ Corporation, and we were just calling to see if you'd be interested in interviewing with our organization. And you're going, I have no idea who this person
I
is.
had a couple of them last week, actually.
No idea who this is, and trust me, the employer on the other end of that phone call
Yeah.
knows that you have no idea what they're talking about. And you need to keep a detailed record, and I told you before, I have a chart up here coming up soon. You need to know the name of the company, the position you applied for, the date you applied, and then you also want to have a column for follow-up. Did you follow up with them, all right? So you did, just happened to
Yeah,
know.
it just happened to me, and it makes us feel a little like, oh, well, I thought you took the time to
Uh-huh.
apply and do research on us, and then you have no idea who I am.
And they're blatantly telling you
So-
that they don't even know.
Yeah,
They are.
yeah, they are. So-
Yep.
Why don't you just say like, oh yeah, I would love an interview, even though you don't know? Like, why would somebody even say that
Well,
they don't know?
If you didn't know who it was or anything, how would you know where to go?
Well, they said I'm with the company XYZ, you would look up that company.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that a lot of times, like, you might think of this, but this happens a lot. I mean, they're
Yeah.
telling you it just
Okay,
happened.
okay.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That they just are like, I don't know.
They're just because, you know, they're sitting online
They're
all
caught
day,
off guard.
They're just applying to everybody, and they're not taking the time to do the research on the
Yeah.
company before actually applying to them. So that's
Yeah,
just-
Carly, you might not do that. You might be the smart one who doesn't do that.
Is it appropriate to just be honest and say, I'm sorry, I've been doing so much interviewing, may it take a few minutes to pull my records or to pull my
Yeah, we
file?
have calls like that too, and that's fine. I still talk to, you know, whoever. I don't hang up the phone on them or anything. I do walk through and I tell our version of who our company is and, you know, how we work, and then we're on the same page at that point. But it's just the initial kind of like
Yeah.
shock of call.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's like, how would you feel, right? It's kind of, yeah, so just if you keep detailed records, and of course, you might be caught off guard, that's a good question, but if you say to them, can I just have a moment to check exactly how you phrased it, I think that would be
Yeah,
okay.
it's definitely appropriate.
And then you want to set some goals. So how many applications are you sending out per week? Now, again, I'm not saying you should apply to 5,000 jobs, but you want to definitely have some type of goal for yourself that you're meeting. Because if you make a goal, you're more than likely to follow through on that. So you might say to yourself, I'm going to make it a point to send out 5 job applications a week, whatever that number may be. And so make a goal and stick to it, okay? Now, the last two, creating a flawless resume and a well-crafted cover letter, these might be two of the most important things, because if your resume has any errors in it, I can tell you as a former recruiter, and I know these ladies will back me up, I'm just saying it's a screening process. If I'm getting 100 applications, if there is one error on that resume, garbage. It goes into the trash, I'm not even gonna look at it. If your cover letter is not written well, if it's a generic form letter that I can tell you sent out to 100 other jobs and did not tailor it to my company, I'm gonna probably put you in the maybe file. You understand what I'm saying by that? You need to tailor it to the company you're applying. Does it take a lot of work? Yeah. But you gotta proofread, you have to look over that letter a few times and make sure that you're representing yourself and you're selling yourself and you're also making that company feel special. That it's not just some generic letter. Okay, next slide please. You can just pull them all up there. That's okay. Being flexible. Do you guys remember I said in the beginning that you know, job title and all that kind of stuff really shouldn't matter to you? This is what I mean when you're really actively job searching. You have to look at, all right, maybe this doesn't have the title I want, but what am I going to be doing? And do I think that this company could maybe be a stepping stone to get to another opportunity? Or do I think this organization might have opportunities for promotion in the future? So do not be hung up by title. And I say this because I've heard it so many times, even when I was a recruiter and I hear from students. But this says internship, and I'm going to be a graduate. And I say, whoops, sorry, I'm saying sorry to the chair. If you are a graduate, right, so you have your bachelor's degree now, and you are job searching, do not be ashamed. There is absolutely no shame in taking an internship position. Here's why. For 2 reasons. A, companies build their pipeline with their interns. So this could be your little trial period. Where yeah, you're an intern, but then it turns into that full-time job. I've seen it happen more times than I can count from new graduates, or from an MBA student, or a graduate student. Please listen to what I'm telling you. Consider taking something that's an internship even after you graduate. Would you guys support that? Okay. Realize that every job you have is going to give you transferable skills. Does anybody know what a transferable skill is? I see you shaking your head. Okay, you have your head up, your hand up, so go ahead. What's it?
I think it's like something that you learn at one place that could be brought into other like facilities
Yes.
or other areas of
Exactly.
the job.
You're absolutely right. So, teamwork, leadership skills, okay? The example that I give in some of my classroom presentations, it's kind of, I feel funny saying it, but when I was in high school, my first job was I was a cook at Pizza Hut. Yes, cook at Pizza Hut. So, think about it. What do you think I did in my job? Let's throw out some things. What did I do, Aiden? I'm a cook at Pizza Hut. Without reading my resume, what did I do? I had to clean, okay. I had to clean. Carly, what do you think I did?
You learned how to.
Just my duties, not transferable skills. But like,
Oh.
what did I do?
You
I made
had-
pizza,
you cooked and cleaned and you.
made dough.
Yeah.
Anybody else? What did I do at Pizza Hut?
Took the directions.
Yeah, right? So I don't need to have 12 bullet points on my resume that said, I did food prep, I made dough, I put, pizza in the oven, I was working with, cheese and peppers, right? What an employer wants to see is that I supervise people and I train people, okay? And that develops leadership skills. Maybe I was able to learn conflict resolution skills by dealing with really pain in the butt customers, right? So that's the difference between, like if I'm a server, if I'm a, is it politically correct to even say like waitress and waiter anymore? I don't know. Say server, okay. So if I'm a waitress, obviously you know what I do. You don't have to see my resume to see that. But maybe there's other skills, the transferable skills that I've developed as a waitress, okay, dealing with difficult people. Who in here has ever done any type of food service or working with people? Who in here can tell me from that experience that they had to deal with some tough people on occasion? Yes, right? All of you on your resume should have a bullet point that talks about that in some way, shape, or form. Okay? So these are the things to be thinking about. That's the stuff that an employer wants to look at. So sorry to ramble on, but again, I just wanted to mention that these transferable skills are things that people do not put on their resume. They just tell you, this is what I did today. Okay? Anything to add? If any, please just interject. I don't want you to feel like, okay. Okay. The best advice I ever received was cast a wider net. And it was like, I don't know, this epiphany for me. I was having this conversation when I felt really stuck in my last job. And the person I was talking to said kind of what I'm telling you, but she said it in a much better way. She said, cast a wider net. And what she meant was, be open, be flexible. Realize that when you cast a wider net, you're going to catch more fish. Does that make sense, that analogy? All right, so next slide, please. You just pull on here. It's okay, it's okay. I know, I gotcha. Sort of going back to what I was saying before, right? So camp counselor. Let's say you were a camp counselor over a summer. Maybe that translates into an office leader, okay? Problem-solving skills, analytical or critical thinking skills. Those are the skills employers are looking for on resumes and that get interviews, okay? Let's go back to that internship thing where you're like, I'm a graduate, I don't want to do an internship. Think about this, maybe you'd be open to temporary work. You're getting a paycheck and developing skills while you're doing that real job search, okay? So there's no shame in temp work, there's no shame in part-time work, there's no shame in an internship. Next slide, please. Where to look and what to do. So So, now you have your target list of companies. You're looking at different companies out there. You know where you want to apply. You're doing your research. Okay. Obviously, we've been talking about the advertised job market. Those are jobs that are posted on a company's website. That's the easiest place to start. What a lot of folks don't know about is the hidden job market, which I'm going to get to. This is just sort of an overview of what we're going to talk about next. We got to talk about the hidden job market, which not a lot of people know what that is, okay? We're going to practice excellent record keeping as a reminder, folks, all right? We're going to do your research. We're going to talk about LinkedIn in a few slides. And then I just really strongly suggest that you do practice interviews and ask for feedback from people. Take constructive criticism. We all need it. Nobody is a perfect interviewer. We all have things we need to improve upon. Here are some of my favorite sites. My absolute favorite is Indeed and LinkedIn. I'm telling you that when I do a job search or I have my students do a job search, Indeed is where to go. Do you guys agree with me on this? Do you have any other sites that maybe I didn't list that you think are better sites? These are like the top.
I would say
Yeah.
they're the top, yeah.
Yeah. But my favorite is Indeed. And what I like about Glassdoor is that not only can you job search on it, but you can also read company reviews and things like that. Any questions on this before I move on to the next one? Okay. All right, let's talk about this hidden job market. Before you pull up before you hit next, Liz, does anybody know what I mean by the hidden job market? What do you think that means? I know it sounds kind of obvious. Yes, you in the back. I saw your hand.
I guess your connections, like people you know.
Say more, louder.
Your connection, people
Your
that you
connections and people you know. Yes, ma'am.
Jobs that are posted within the company, within the office.
But not out.
Not outside.
Outside. Yes. Okay. Yes. You can pull it up. There's three. Yep. Okay. So absolutely, these are jobs, just like I say, they're not public knowledge, but that they exist. And so many times, people don't know that this is even a thing, because why would you unless I'm telling you right now, right? So the hidden job market, there are jobs out there. For example, there's 2 in my office that haven't even been posted yet, and it's going to be another couple of weeks for them to get posted. But I'm allowed to tell people I know about the job, and it's not even posted to the public yet, right? So the people that know me already have that connection, and I can put them in touch with the right people. You see what I'm saying? So people you know, like the young lady in the back said, you got to talk to your contacts. Anytime you're looking for a job, tell everybody you know you're looking. I'm sorry, but that is rule 101. Everybody that knows you are looking for a job. Okay? There's no shame in it, right? Like, oh, I'm looking for a job, this is not good. Everybody who knows you should know you're looking. All right? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to share an example of that.
Sure.
My son was working at a company earning $28,000 a year. One of the people that he worked with told me about a position that was open but wasn't posted to the outside. He interviewed and was hired for a position that starts at $80,000 a year.
Did you say 28 to 80?
Yes.
Can you tell me the name of that company, by the way? I'm not even kidding. I am kidding. Wow, and he got and it was because of someone he knew. Yeah, that's a phenomenal story. Woo. Lord have
So
mercy.
it does work.
Wow. And so networking and informational interviewing are the ways to tap into that hidden job market. Networking is obviously what we said, going to these organizational meetings that are boring, shaking hands with people, exchanging business cards. My favorite thing to do, and this is actually what worked for me in my own life, my own professional career, which was very successful for me, was talking to people and asking them for people I could reach out to in the field of higher ed, going on LinkedIn and doing some searches and finding people that were in the job that I wanted. You guys with me? In the job I wanted. And literally, it's a numbers game. If you call or email 10 people, math says that 3 to 4 of them will get back to you. And if you're lucky, maybe more. It's a numbers game. That's a recruiting thing, too, that I'm sure you guys know about very well. Okay, so you got to realize, right, that takes a lot of work, but I'm telling you, that was actually how I got into this field, is by looking at what kind of job that I want. I found those people on LinkedIn who did that kind of work, and I reached out to them and said, would you mind talking with me for a few minutes and answering questions about your career path. You make it about them too. Your LinkedIn profile really impressed me. Your background impressed me. I was wondering if you'd be able to share just 15 to 20 minutes of your time and talk to me about your career path and how you got to where you are. And you know what, as a student, people don't turn students down. I never had one person say they wouldn't talk to me. Now this is when I was in grad school. People have definitely not talked to me in my life, but when I was in grad school, they did not turn me down because I just played the student card. I played the student card, right?
And another thing is
Please.
definitely look into the alumni too, your alumni networks.
Yeah.
See at that company who went to Widener and tap into that, and that could really, that's a connection that you guys have that sets you apart from other people, so.
Yeah, it's right next slide.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, don't apologize, don't apologize.
Out of the gate.
That's no, that was, I want you to interject, believe me. Like, so informational interviews is essentially you're asking someone, can you please share with me a little bit about your background and your company and things like that, and they are then going to remember you when a job opens up, right? Okay, next slide. You can just pull them all up, all right? I was gonna ask questions, but for purposes of timing, that's okay. Purpose of networking is to create a mutually beneficial relationship. It's not all about you. You want the person you're networking with to feel like you care about them too. So it's about them as well, right? So you want to gather a list of contacts who can help you with your career and your job hunting. You want to go out of your way to add to that list. So you always want to be building your list of contacts, whether it's through LinkedIn or what have you. Anything to add on that one, ladies? Just about building your contact list.
Yeah, I think making sure, like, maybe even making notes in your contact list, like, if the person referenced maybe that, I don't know, about his or her son or daughter, like, joining the club that you're in, making a note of that in your Excel document, that way you can reference it, because you're meeting so many people and you have to learn all these things, and I think if you can show that you're actually listening and paying attention to what they say and remembering those things, I think it's really going to help you.
Any questions on networking or informational interviewing? Do you guys see how it works though? Like, does it make sense of how this can turn into some interviews and some job offers? Okay. So we talked a lot, I got ahead of myself, and we talked about most of this, okay? Who in here has a LinkedIn profile? Keep them up just so I can see them. Oh my goodness. It's just about everybody in the room. This is, okay, awesome, yes.
I just made mine and I don't really know how to use it.
Okay.
If you were gonna talk about it, continue talking about it.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to give like a LinkedIn tutorial, but if you ever wanted to meet with me and we could actually sit down and do that, you can make an appointment to do that with me. But LinkedIn, I'm telling you, when I was a recruiter, 95% of the people I recruited were people I found from doing LinkedIn searches. I don't know if you guys use it, but yeah, I mean, I'm not kidding you, unless it was like a lead that someone handed to me and said, call this person, or if I was in my database or whatever, most of my day was finding people on LinkedIn. And I would just do a search, they'd come up, and I'd call them, and I'd ask them if they wanted to hear about my opportunity, okay? And I'm telling you, it's like, you gotta get on this thing. You gotta get on LinkedIn, all right? Everybody is on it, and everybody is using it to find talent. I'm not gonna get into a ton of LinkedIn, but there are some slides coming up, all right? Next slide, please. So this is going back again to the informational interviewing. I wanted to kind of mention, yes, it's for jobs and things like that, right? But let's look at what else is up here. So think about this too, the purpose of informational interviewing, it's not just to benefit you and in the sense that, oh, I got in front of you and now you might hire me later. It's also for you to figure out your path. Because I've even been on some informational interviews where when I was done, I was like, I don't like that. I don't think I do want to do that after all. I really learned what the job, what the person's job entailed, and I learned what the company did, and I was like, I don't know. So you also can use it to screen out types of jobs and employers. I've met with some folks at some different colleges when I was trying to break into higher ed, and I was like, as much as I want to work in higher ed, I do not want to work at that university. for whatever reason. So you want to use it as a screening process for companies and for careers, right? You also, like we already said, and I know I tend to do this a lot, where I talk, I get ahead of myself before my slides. I have to work on this clearly, but you really just you want to find answers to specific questions, and you want to get career advice. Keep going. You can just pull them all up there again for me, Liz. And then, as you can see, our next slide is LinkedIn. So I mentioned this before, people doing the work that interests you, all right? Get the names from your coworkers, friends, professors. Professors at Widener know a lot of people. Ask your professors for names. Who do you know? Who do you know who's hiring? Okay, you don't know anybody who's hiring? Who do you know that would talk to me? Who do you know in business informatics field? Who do you know in the field of communications that would be willing to talk to me? Always ask people, who do you know, all right? As I said before, if you put a time frame on it, would you spare 15 minutes to talk to me? The person is so much more likely to say yes versus, would you be willing to meet me for dinner sometime? I mean, that's not gonna work, right? If the person thinks that they're on the hook for like an hour or more, they're probably not gonna wanna meet with you. If you say, do you have 15 minutes to spare, they'll give it to you, and the conversation will probably end up being more than that anyway. Okay, so just remember that. Put a time frame on it. And then make your list of questions. Do not, if you get an informational interview, have your questions ready. Don't just be on the phone or meet the person for coffee with nothing to ask them. You want to have everything planned out and written down. Okay. LinkedIn, all right? Best resource for students, people who want help on LinkedIn. University.linkedin.com. This resource will literally walk a student through, step by step, what they need for their profile. It's a fabulous resource. I recommend it to everybody. It's awesome. You don't even have to be a student to use it, okay? Professional looking photo. Does anybody want to shout out, what do I mean by professional looking photo? Aiden. A what? Oh, that's fancy language. I don't even know what that means. What is that? A composite. What does it mean? A headshot?
A headshot,
Oh,
like a senior photo.
I didn't even know, that's okay. So you don't have to go pay for the photo. You can maybe just stand in front of, something on campus. We have a pretty, Old Main, something, and just make sure that you're wearing like a jacket or a button-down shirt or something, and that you look nice in the photo. You just don't want it to be you and another person. You don't want to be throwing up, any kind of like signs or anything. You just want to make it be a professional-looking photo. And you want to make yourself stand out by highlighting your strengths and the skills that you can bring to the employer. So on your LinkedIn, it should be more than just your resume. You really want to use that as your marketing tool. Okay, next slide, please. Here's an example. So when you do a search, these are two students. Let's say I'm a recruiter and I'm doing a search on LinkedIn, okay? Even though he's not wearing a suit, I still find that to be a very nice picture of him, okay, of this young man, Khalil. Notice underneath his name is his, what I call a tagline. And so when you're searching on LinkedIn, thank you for that. When you're searching, all you see is the person's, before you click on their profile, you're going to see the person's picture, their name, and their tagline. So you want that to really grab someone's attention. So he has communication student, student journalist, aspiring journalism / PR practitioner. He doesn't just say student at Widener University, which I've seen from everyone. You're shaking your head, so go there. Go. Say it.
I
Cringe.
get that because that tells me nothing about you.
It says nothing. It says I'm one of 3,600 other people.
Or 50,000.
Widener, right. Yep. So you want to really use that to make yourself stand out. This young lady, Marcella, she has here on-air talent, broadcast production, experienced writer, social issues. I mean, she just went off, right? So she's showing people who she is. And I just think these were really two great examples. So any questions on that? Does that make a difference? Does that make sense versus student at Widener or accounting major at Widener? All right, next slide. Yes, please.
Like, for us recruiters, we want to know that you're searching for something. So if you can add that maybe you're seeking for an internship in the summer in X, Y, and Z field, looking for a fantastic opportunity in accounting or something to show us that you're searching for an internship or job, that you're active, rather than just like student RA at Widener University.
which I see all
All
the
the
time. Yeah, so best practices. So once you have a LinkedIn profile, you'll know what this is, your summary. The summary, this is not your resume. You can write in the first person. You can put the personal pronouns, I, me, my. This is your document, okay? Or I'm sorry, this is your marketing tool. Write in the first person, tell your story, list your strengths. I don't know if you guys can see this, I'll just quickly read. I thought this was a really nice summary that a student had. Life isn't always fair, but I strongly believe that all children deserve the best possible education. I came to Widener so I could work at our charter school and make a difference with students who do not have my advantages. I'm a patient tutor, a quick learner, and a fierce advocate for children's rights. I want to use my passion and communication skills to make a good education possible for everyone. Isn't that that's just such a great story versus education major at Widener. All right, if there, we'll do next slide.
Because they're only taking 5 to 6 seconds to look at your resume and your
Yes.
LinkedIn. And if you're not grabbing my attention in the first 3 seconds, I'm going to keep looking.
Yep.
And you wanna wow them.
Yes. Okay, experience section. Instead of having bullets like we do on our resume, right? We want to put things, again, in the first person. So I assess and respond to the 24/7 needs of more than 60 resident students from cultural diverse backgrounds. Just so you know that we're almost done in about 10 minutes or so, so I'm not going to be able to sign your bullet. Okay. My key responsibilities include I am proudest of a 3-part workshop I designed to help students learn about and appreciate aspects of different cultures. You see the difference? It's like you're owning it. Next slide. All right, let's talk about who can I invite to connect on LinkedIn and how do I do that? This is crucial with networking, informational interviewing, and job searching. How do I do this? All right, so who should you invite to connect? You want to invite fellow classmates because then you also get to tap into their connections. Your professors, a lot of students are connected with me who have had relationships with me, okay? Your personal network, family, friends, neighbors, the workplace, coworkers, supervisors. Anybody thinking of anyone else who they might want to invite and are not sure? Who else can you invite on LinkedIn? This is not a trick question. This is just if anyone's questioning, who can I connect with on there? If we remember, I think it was Jackie mentioned that Widener alums, people who graduated from Widener and are in the field that you're interested in, that should be your #1, you guys, because that's what it's all about. It's about coming full circle. Like when you graduate and if you're in a successful position, if a Widener student reached out to you, would you and asked you for advice, do you think that you might give it to them? Okay, does anybody have any questions about connecting? I mean, we are going to talk about it a little bit more, but is there anybody who's wondering, well, I don't know if I should reach out to this person or not? Okay. You are the best slide flipper ever. All right, this is, all right, so searching LinkedIn. Searching LinkedIn not only for jobs, but for people. You want to use the advanced search options because you can type in keywords, you can type in location, you can type in job title. You can type in so much information. Don't just do the general search, use advanced search. Once you connect with people, look at who they're connected with, and let's say that you have a contact on LinkedIn who's connected with somebody awesome like Liz Schroeder over here. I'm going to use you as an example. And I'm like, oh man, Liz Schroeder, I want to know who Liz Schroeder is. So you go to your friend and you say, would you introduce me via LinkedIn to Liz Schroeder? All that person can say is no. But if you peep all their contacts, you can see some other people that you might want to, they don't, thank you for laughing. You can see some other people to connect with. The coolest thing that LinkedIn has, now if you're not taking notes, this is when you should be, is the alumni tool. The alumni tool on LinkedIn, and this is what Jackie was referring to earlier about searching for alumni. LinkedIn actually has a tool where as long as you have your school, now mind you, you have to have your education in your profile, all right? So that LinkedIn can see that you're a student at Widener, all right? You go up to the top of LinkedIn and on the toolbar, and you click on alumni, and it's a drop-down menu, and I don't know what the name of it says, like Alumni Finder or something. And You do a simple search, maybe based on industry, based on your major, based on a company you're interested in, and it will populate every single Widener alum who has a LinkedIn account and show you where they're working, what is the industry, you know, what location are they in, and it is the coolest thing. I'm not doing it justice.
No,
Say
it's-
more,
it's
help me out
awesome.
here,
No, it
because
is.
I'm not even doing it justice. It is
It
the
makes it
coolest
so
thing.
easy too. It's
Yeah.
very easy to use, and like I said, it's a connection that you guys have with each other that will set you apart from other people that are applying.
Yeah.
You guys want to help others, right? Like other alumni or other students, if they were to ask you, everybody wants to help as long as you ask them. So
Yeah, the
It's
alumni
powerful,
tool,
yeah.
yes, the alumni tool is your best friend on LinkedIn. I'm telling you, it's super cool. You just have to use it to appreciate it. Me telling you about it isn't really gonna make you, it's not sounding as cool, but it's really, I think it's the best thing that you can use. All right, next slide, please. And this is just a little reminder. It's like, well, what should I use these contacts for? Did I hear you say yes? Which one stood out to you? Don't ask, don't get? Oh, that's what my old boss used to tell me. Which one?
I just think, just being mindful of who you're trying to connect with too, because if you're trying to connect with the CEO of Ernst & Young and you don't have some sort of lead with it, just being mindful of those that you don't have a connection with.
Exactly.
And the first impression that you set to them.
Exactly. So when to ask for help. Like if you have this company in mind that you're interested in and you just have absolutely no connections, ask your contacts, see if they can help you. And that's all this slide is. One of the best things that one of my old bosses told me that I'm telling you I go through my life this way, well, he told me two things. He told me don't ask, don't get, and better to ask forgiveness and permission. But anyway, don't ask, don't get. The worst that could happen is someone says no, right? So you gotta have the mentality is that when you're going out there, you gotta be hungry and you know, you're looking for that job. Don't ask, don't get. Next slide, please. How are we on time? Oh, cool. We're almost done and I'm almost done. So this is a summary of your job search broken down into 3 steps. So we have the investigative stage. When you're thinking about, you wanna write down on paper, when you're preparing that resume, what are your skills and abilities, okay? Think about the kind of job and career that you want to have. Research and identify those jobs and organizations of interest. This is what we talked about in the beginning. The written communication stage is when you are now sending out resumes, cover letters, or those LinkedIn emails to get to know folks, right? And you're reaching out to people that are in your field of interest. The employer contact stages is when you're now responding to job leads, you're networking, you're getting these job interviews, and ultimately landing employment. So it's 3 stages. Does anybody want to take a picture? I saw one person took a picture of it. Does anybody else want this slide up, or should I move on? Move on? Okay. Oh, I see. Did you want to take it? That's okay. That's very good. Okay. Things to remember. You can just pop these. This is I just want to make a point, like, you have to think about this, right? That your major and your future job title do not have to match. My undergraduate degree is in accounting, and I am a career counselor. Don't forget that, all right? Your first job will not be your last, and nowadays, I mean, look, I'm not that old, but I'm a lot older than you guys. In my day, it was sort of like people changed jobs maybe 2 to 3 times in their life, and now it's like they change jobs once every couple of years, and they're changing careers. This is my 3rd career. This is not my 3rd job. I'm not trying to make it about me, but my point is I was an accountant, then I was a recruiter for a few different agencies. Now I'm a career counselor, so this is my 3rd career. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So you have to really think about that. And that's really all I had to say about that one. This is the don't give up, be persistent. You can just put them up. We talked about all this already. I want to get to that chart. This is the chart. This is the chart. I actually use this in my own job search when I was looking. This is a great way to stay organized. And if you remember in the beginning, we were saying like, know the company you apply to, know the job title. Okay. Now you might not have every column filled out. But job title, employer, location, did you apply to their King of Prussia office? Did you apply to their Philadelphia office? Or did you apply to their Jersey office? Or maybe you applied to Florida, right? Contact info, that means that if you did know somebody, if you had a person's name, put that in there as a point of reference so that when they call you, you're not going, huh? The date applied, and then the last column is really crucial, follow-up. How long do you think you should wait after applying to follow up on a position? 2 weeks? What do you think? 2 weeks? Anybody have anything else other than 2 weeks? My advice is actually not to do, 2 weeks is okay, but my advice is this, and if you guys disagree, please chime in. I always say after a week, you should call the person if you have a name. If you don't, you can email the company, and I'm going to give you a tip on how to get a name. You say, I just wanted to follow up with you to ensure that you received my materials, and I'm also inquiring about the status of the search of your job opening. I think that shows that you are taking initiative, and a phone call is going to make you stand out also versus that email that maybe other people are sending, okay? Let's say you have no idea. Well, you call the company, can you please tell me the name of the person who's handling the blah, blah, blah position? Oh, sure, that's so-and-so in HR. Well, can you give me their name, or can you transfer me to them? Worst they could say is no. Let's say that you do that enough times and you're going to start getting names. Call the person and leave them a message in their voicemail. You like this? Call and get a name. I'm telling you, I've done this more times than I can count. You call and you get the person's name who's handling the search. You call that person and leave a message about your application materials. Okay? Does this make sense, you guys? All right, next slide, please. And this is progress measurements. This is it. This is the last slide. I lied, but this is the last one we're going to talk about. All right? So progress measurement, because the next one after it we already talked about with follow-up. I just mentioned it, right? So this is something that you really, if you want to quantify and hold yourself accountable. How many networking conversations have I had this month? Right? To keep yourself on track. How many companies are on my target list? And what am I doing with those companies? How many applications did I apply to? How many emails did I send to employers who did not have job postings? So what I mean by that is how many people did I reach out to for that informational interview? Okay? Do I have any interviews yet? How many have I had? This is a measure to kind of see, all right, maybe you're doing everything you should and it's not working for you right now, but you at least have the data in front of you to say, I've applied to jobs, I've had interviews, I've had networking conversations, versus if you look at that and everything is a 0 or a 1, you know you got to step it up. Really seeing that written down is going to help you. How long have you been looking? How long do you think it takes to find a full-time job? Anybody want to, from job search to finishing, how long do you think it really takes for the average person? What do you think?
A year.
Say again? A year, that could be, a little bit less than that, but 6 months, yeah, it can take 6 months. Now mind you, some of you will have job offers upon graduation and you're lucky, but sometimes, whether you're a new grad or whether you're out in the, like, so someone of my age who, like, let's say I started looking for a job, it definitely is going to take me a few months, okay? Your situation might be you had the offer before you graduate, but 6 months is what you should prepare yourself for so that you don't fly off the deep end. That's really all I have. Like I said, the next one I already talked about with the follow-up. It really is just, sending thank you notes to people that have helped you. Even if it wasn't a real interview, you should send them a thank you note. And staying in touch. Don't just be reaching out to people when you need something every 3 years. Stay in touch with these people. Because if you just reach out to people when you need something, they're not going to be as willing to help you. All right? That's really all I had, and you guys are free to go, and if there's any questions, I'll take them. Yes, ma'am?
I heard you mention something about Florida.
Florida, yes.
I graduated in May and I'm moving to North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm assuming then that LinkedIn does have contacts for networking in other states.
Oh, LinkedIn is global.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And since I would like to start working or find a position as a reading specialist for education in September, when should I start doing my search this summer.
In North Carolina?
Yes.
Well, here's the thing, so, and I'll look to you guys for help, but so, for full-time jobs, the job search process is a lot different. And you guys are free to go. I'm just answering questions now, so you don't have